Hello and welcome back to CPR's Clubhouse Live. My name is CPR Jose Ortiz, and we are joined this week by Tito Puente Jr. Welcome to CPR's Clubhouse Live.
Gracias, Jose Ortiz, CPR. Love you, man. Haven't talked to you in a bit, but it's nice to see you. And
Yeah,
thanks for having me on the
every time
show.
you have a new release, we have the honor of getting you on one of our shows. And after hearing this album, I needed to get you on to talk about it. So we'll go through it. Right now, you have a brand new album. It's called The King and I. It's available right now on all your digital platforms. I heard it, a star-studded cast. You have Jose Alberto Canario, you have Michael Stewart, Frankie Negron, and Domingo Quiñones, Tony Vega, Sheila E, Humberto Ramirez, also Ronnie Puente, and just a star-studded Pete Escobedo on the percussions. I mean, you're just full of great artists on this album. Now the question is, how did you convince all these people to come celebrate 20 years of your father and 20 years of you paying homage to him?
Yeah, Jose, it was quite difficult during the pandemic simply because we couldn't get everybody together in one place at one time. But I reached out to each and every one of those artists. And the concept of the album, The King and I, is each artist worked in the studio setting with Tito Puente. They recorded with my father in a studio setting. My father worked with many different artists, outside of that and live performances. But I wanted to keep it real close to the artists that worked with him directly in a studio setting where he was behind the board, the recording board, and they were on the other side by the
Yeah.
microphone. And that's where these artists came from. I asked each and every one of these artists to participate in a tribute to Tito Puente on his 20th anniversary, which was last year, and we postponed the album release until this year. And everybody decided, and thankfully they all agreed to participate in this record. And each one of them worked with Tito Puente himself, and I'm grateful
So
to each and every artist.
the first track is 20 years, 20 años, and I loved it because it's like a story within the song, which is what salsa is all about. But specifically, it talks about your journey and your father's journey all in one song. And so I really appreciated that, and I love the way that everyone sounded perfect together. What a great blend.
Yeah, not only that, my father's playing timbales on the song as well. It's in the music video. It's all over YouTube. But we found some old recording of Tito Puente back in the 1980s in reel to reel, and we
Right.
flew it in there. So it's almost like that, Nat King Cole, Natalie Cole, unforgettable thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
very cool.
You say real to real. People are like, what is that? And they
Yeah,
gotta Google it.
yeah.
Speaking of Google, I also saw that the title of this album is something that your father also used in 1967 for La Lupe. La Lupe had an album called The King and I, and in Spanish, El Rey y Yo. And I found that interesting that 54 years later, you're using the same title for this album.
Yeah, as a homage to the great La Lupe, who worked with Tito Puente for many
Yeah.
years. The title is an offshoot of her record with Dad, where she's on the cover with my father, and they
Yes,
they did a beautiful record together. And yes,
absolutely.
it is an offshoot of that. But I thought The King and I. Well, I was more looking at it towards how each artist felt like I'm in the studio with El Rey de Timbal, so The
Right.
King and I, the concept. We also got testimony of them too.
Right. I love the fact that you're mentioning two of the greatest artists featured in my home. I remember waking up Saturday mornings and it's either Timbales or La Lupa crying on a song. You know what I mean? It's either or.
Yeah.
And that's the way that my mom had it for so many years. And to the point where we were like, okay, enough of La Lupe. You know what I mean? Like, because when she hears a no, she hears a no.
Yeah.
And when your father, soñaba and timbale, he went off. He went off. I didn't mind the king. I minded the queen. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
those ballads. Uh, but getting back to the album at hand, this is a great album. It really is. There's some remakes in there. There's some a lot of information that you put in, a lot of work you put into this album, a lot of things that you did that your father did before. You pay homage to him here as well. I think he would be very proud of this album.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Jose. I worked very hard on it to get the music, the arrangements, our Tito Puente arrangements. I had to go to New York to my mother's house. We have the Tito Puente vault over there with
Right.
all my father's arrangements. And each song is from a different era, from 1957 Hong Kong Mambo with my brother Ronnie into the 1960s and 70s with El Meñique, the 87-year-old Meñique, keep belting it out. And that song's over 50 years old with Niña y Señora. Then we went into, of course, into the 1980s with Salsa Nama with Jose Alberto Canario. And in the 90s, that my father's 100th LP, he had Tony Vega and Jose Alberto Canario
Right.
on that album. So
Yes.
this is a 30 years later, from 1991 to 2001, we did Déjame Soñar with the great Tony Vega.
And again, these are great pieces of art that is put into this album. This album, everyone should program it on their phone if they have the capabilities of doing that. But also, there are plans to have physical media. Is that correct?
Yes, we're going to do LPs. I think the second record store day is coming July 18th, I believe. Is that right? 18th? So they're going to have LPs ready for you guys. They're doing a limited run on the LPs, and CD, compact disc, physical will be available at that time too.
And I got to get 2 of each for my mom. You know how
I got you, man. I promised you and your mom that I get you guys. She needs an LP. You need the CD. I know.
Well, the connection here is grand, and this is a freestyle show, right? But the
Yes.
connection between Tito Puente Jr., CPR's Clubhouse, Clubhouse Dance Music, freestyle is there. Many years back, I thought of putting a compilation together, and the community or the people that ran the festival at the time, they were like, "Hey, freestyle is not part of the Puerto Rican culture," and you were one of the reasons why I was able to get 10,000 people and prove them wrong. I got to create a compilation. I got to invite you here many years back, and you came. And when I said Tito Puente Jr. is on board to come and be part of the festival, they were like, "Okay, we'll open the doors to you." So I owe some of my success to you. And the great part about it is, so many years later, you became the marshal, the grand marshal of the Puerto Rican festival here in Springfield, Massachusetts. It was awesome.
Yeah, I'm grateful to you too, CPR. You were one of the first ones that took me on and said, let's check out Tito Puente Jr. and his Latin dance move. I had the Latin rhythm going on and our house music and all that. And you opened up doors for us too, well, in Springfield. I love your countdown. I listen to it every week. It's great that you are one of probably the pioneer of keeping new school dance music up abreast of everybody and keeping it going. And I'm glad that you are taking this little time to give us little salsa guys a little kudos on the freestyle
Listen,
world.
there are two things, or even three, that run rampant in my house. Okay, freestyle is one of them. That's a given, right?
Yeah.
Salsa and pro wrestling. That's it.
Oh,
So,
see, they're my favorite things. That's what we have in common.
we have a great kinship, because at one time you were also involved in professional wrestling in Florida, and I saw that after I had you here at the festival, that a few years later you were doing wrestling, pro wrestling in Florida, and I'm like, oh my goodness! And like you were playing the heel, the heel Puente,
Yeah.
and then you turn baby face or whatever the case may be. But I was proud of that, because I know how much you, myself, DKH K7, we all love pro wrestling.
We love pro wrestling. I love pro wrestling. I always loved it ever since I was a kid. We're Hulkamaniacs running wild, and I love. Me and you go back and forth all the time with the pro wrestling thing, and I'm still so glad I'm still a fan today. I love rock music and pro wrestling, salsa, and with
champion. You see my title belt back there.
Yeah, I see that belt.
You see the championship. Somebody was like, "Oh, I'll give you $3,000 for that title." I'm like, "I'm not selling that." You know what I mean? That's mine.
Wow.
But I think they were kidding, probably. You know how it goes. People are cheap in freestyle. They're not gonna pay $3,000 for something, right? Well, it's a 2-inch record. But as far as that kinship with pro wrestling, freestyle, salsa, that has always been there, because I've seen you taking all of them. I know that salsa is your heart, but you also support our freestyle community, which is a great thing, and it's something that we shouldn't take for granted or lightly.
I love the freestyle music. I've always have. And of course, kudos to all the dance music and freestyle artists that did salsa music, such as Mark Anthony, La India. A little trivia for you, CPR, and you probably know this more than anybody. Tito Puente was probably one of the first Latin band leaders to play on a Latin freestyle track, which was Clave Rocks back in 1986. And he played the timbales during the song. Ray Serrano was the producer, and it was a group called Amaretto. And Tito Puente was one of the first to play on a hip hop track with the great Sugar Hill Gang back in 1978,
Right.
79. So a lot of history with Puente and dance music and hip hop, and I'm glad that I got my father into that a little bit more as I introduced him to that world with Little Louis Vega, India, Mark Anthony. I got my dad, I pushed him into that, and he did some great music with them with New Yorican Soul, and of course the River Ocean record with India, and it's great to see Puente was
Right.
into all styles and all genres of music.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you keep your father's legacy going because not only are you part of the current freestyle community, but you have been part of it for a long period of time. I see you troll sometimes. I always laugh when you troll a little bit. You make a little funny comments, but that's the way
I do.
the
I
genre is
do.
now, right?
You'll
Everything has
see
to
me in
be
the
funny,
freestyle chat room.
sarcastic. Everybody's always so easily manipulating into getting mad. It's just funny stuff. But do you have any plans to
I
go
love it.
back into
I
freestyle?
love getting involved.
I know that recently you teamed up with Ike from Florida, and you did a song together. How did that come about?
Well, when I worked with Ike Rio, she was fantastic. She's Cubana, and I worked with her and her manager Frank Garcia, and we did a tune called Summer Nights last summer. Unfortunately, the pandemic came, so we didn't really get a chance to push the track out. But it was one of those summer banger hits. We wanted to really kick it off for the summertime for beach songs.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to do a remix for it, and I love being a part of it. I wanted to work with somebody new, and she was a fantastic artist. She still is.
Yeah, and I think she's one of the better talents that have come out in the last 5 years. I still love her song "You Never Did Me Right," and now she has a current song right now. This is my jam. But I'm looking forward to that collaboration, that freestyle salsa collabo, where you clash in these songs and make these great sounds because we need that evolution to continue. It started back then with your father. It continues with you. And there's only one person that can do the timbale percussion in a freestyle song, and that's you now. You're the person for the job now.
Yeah, it's great, and I love the fact that I'm seeing some old school freestyle dance music artists putting in the timbales and the percussion. I just saw
Right.
my friend Frank Lords with Secret Society getting back together, bringing in the Latin music again, and hopefully we'll have another renaissance of Latin salsa and freestyle music come together again real soon.
Well, I want to get back to the King and I. What are you hoping people take from this new album that you have out right now?
Man, Jose, I hope that all the dancers during the pandemic, all I saw was people dancing to Tito Puente music around the world, from Italy to China to Japan, all over the planet. They were dancing to Puente music. And I said, man, the fans kept writing to me and inboxing me to do one more tribute to Tito Puente. I can actually do a volume 2 and a volume 3 because my father
Sure.
left so much music. So I'm thinking and considering that maybe the concept for the next album will be singers that work with Tito Puente on stage. And then maybe I'll do just one with just percussion player, Giovanni Hidalgo. I can get
Right.
all kinds of drummers. But again, the record, I hope they take away from it that my tribute to him, the 20th anniversary of his passing, his name and his face and all the accolades that he always had, they should all be remembered because he was a pioneer, the king of Latin music. And I hope that the younger generation, that's really my point by doing this album, is that the kids that were 20 years old in 2000, the year he passed, are now 20 years old and they never got to see Tito Puente or heard him. Hopefully that my keeping his name and his image in perpetuity for moving forward for the new generation, they'll learn a little bit more about their culture and of course the king and queen Celia Cruz, Tito Puente.
I was told, and I recently found out that there's a movie in the works, a biography of some kind. You want to
Yes.
talk about that?
Yeah, there's going to be a fantastic documentary. As a matter of fact, I have a call tomorrow with Mr. Edward James Olmos. He's the
One of my
actor.
favorites of all time. I
Yeah,
love
he's
Battlestar Galactica, the brand
Yeah.
new series. I got the
Yeah.
entire collection. If I can get that signed from him, it will make my day.
I'll see. I'll see if I get that to happen.
He is one of the best actors of all time.
Yeah.
I loved him in Battlestar Galactica, but I love all his work throughout the years. You know, from
American Me, Selena, all
oh
those
my
movies.
goodness,
Wow,
Selena,
fantastic.
all that stuff. I can't
So
watch
he,
Selena without tearing up. You know, but
yeah, yeah. Well, not only that, he was also my dad's really good friend, and he did the eulogy at his funeral back in
yes,
2000. So Edward really wanted to make sure that Tito Puente's name and his history of his life comes alive on the big screen. And of course, we're going to do a docu-series first. It'll be out this December. The trailer, we're going to talk about the trailer tomorrow when I speak to him.
nice.
And we're talking about, it's a real exciting time. And of course, we'll have a soundtrack to that too. And then 2022, we're looking at a biopic for the life of Tito Puente. Very exciting. It'll be on one of those platforms, Hulu, Netflix. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, you know,
everybody will see
they
it.
just recently had the Selena documentary. They had a Nicky
Yes.
Jam docu series,
Yes.
and so these are important things to show the Latin community so they can appreciate what we have to offer. Tito Puente being probably the top of the list of the offerings. There's not a salsero that doesn't know who Tito Puente is, and there shouldn't be one in the future that doesn't know the history of what this man has brought to music, not only salsa, not only mambo, not only even freestyle, but just the world. I mean, your father was worldwide, and you've also gone to other parts of the world because
Yeah.
of what you've done to carry his legacy.
Yeah,
I've
I
seen you
keep.
taking place to Asia. I've seen you
Yeah.
take place to all. I'm like, what are you doing over there? And amazing, amazing stuff.
Yeah, with CPR, always remember that. I always hold that flag of freestyle up everywhere I go.
I know.
Whenever I go somewhere, I always make sure that people know that I love freestyle music. I love the George Lamonts, the Judy Torres, the TKs. I love them all. And I
Right.
always talk about them to all the places where I go around the planet.
No, and I do know that. And the fact that you bring your father's legacy with that's a great collaboration, a great cementing of histories, two histories in one, and that's the part that we get with you, and that you keep bringing forth. Like you're not scared to play with a new artist. You're not scared to collaborate with a new artist, whether it be salsa or whether it be freestyle. Miss Almodovar, you're always promoting her, Molina, and
Sure.
she's amazing too. And I see you always collaborating with her. Your last single was with her, the previous single, and so you're not scared. You know, and I appreciate that about you, that you are willing to mix your salsa, you mix your percussion, mix your style with other music.
Yeah, I love collaborating with other artists, especially with this album. I did it with all these fantastic artists who are legendary in their own right. But I love collaborating with new talent as well. I love hearing the new music that comes from the dance music world, from the freestyle music world. A lot of great music coming. And I hear that the old school cats are working with the new school people. And it's so nice to see that.
Yes.
I know I find that unification something that's really going to take this genre of music somewhere else. And guys like you, man, pioneers like you, opening
Thank
up
you.
doors for everybody.
I see the credits on the King and then I see Sheila E. Timbales. How was it to share that with her?
Sheila E is my dad's goddaughter. So she's been a family, part of our family for many, many years.
Mhm.
Working with her was a little tricky simply because we recorded her during the pandemic, but she played the files, and wait till you see the video. We did a music video where she's over there and I'm over here, and we kind of
Right.
combined too, with her father, Peter Escobedo. And Sheila just knocked it out the park, and she wanted to participate in this. She was very busy doing her own thing, tributing Prince and all those great
Yes.
artists that she works with. But she took the time out and said, I want to tribute your father. I loved your dad so much. And I got her on the record. El Rey de Timbal, she kicks it out.
The fact that you could do that now, before, you used to get on a plane, you had to bring all the equipment to this big studio. Now you can collaborate, and you could be in Florida, and Jose Alberto Canari could be in Puerto Rico, and you guys could still collaborate. Domingo Quinones could be here in New England, and he could be doing the collaboration with you. When I first saw the roster of artists that you had, going back to Jose Alberto Canario, Tony Vega, but then Frankie Negron, when you had the Michael Stewarts and the Domingo Quinones, that's the era for me. My mom's era is Tito Puente, the Tony Vega, and Jose Alberto Canario. So you got generations of salseros all in this album, and I'm like, man, that's good. And as soon as I heard that 20 años, I was like, wow, it just gets you right there and then, and then all the words, because that's the best thing about salsa music, the fact that with the words they can paint pictures like no other music can. And as soon as they start talking about your journey, your father's journey, and they just start talking about everything that they've been through, just in one 5-minute song, you can hear this whole go around the world and 20 years of celebrating one man. That is one track. I can only imagine the rest of the album and all the stuff that is in there, the layers and layers of goodness is what I call it.
Yeah.
But this is a success, and for me, and I'm sure that my mom's gonna love having a CD copy and a vinyl copy, because I have to give her both, and it has to be autographed. You know how it goes.
I would love to do that for your mom. She's a fantastic lady. And let me tell you, it was a great undertaking, but I'm finally glad that it got out there. I just want to announce that it's #1 on iTunes. I'm up there with all the big guys, Romeo Santos, Gloria Estefan, Mark Anthony. So thank you to the fans, for making it #1 and still remembering Tito Puente music.
Yeah, I won't keep you because I know that you have a busy schedule, and tomorrow is a big day for you. Congratulations on the great album. Congratulations on the stories that are going to be told in the future about your father. I hope that they have. Who would you like to cast you? Like, who would you like to play you?
Oh no, that's a good question. I don't know. You look like a good candidate.
Yeah. I just need a hairpiece. You know what I mean?
I don't know, dude. If you come up with an idea, I'll do it. Maybe we'll ask our friend KL from K7.
You guys are pretty much the same age, right? Or he's a little bit older than you?
No, he's a little bit older than me.
A little bit, yeah. So for you, we need somebody with a nice hairdo, wind tunnel tested hairdo. One of those Mami Chulos from the current era right now. You know
somebody from the old Menudo.
Something like that. But Ben, congratulations, and I'm gonna give you some ideas on who you should cast to play you in the epic movie and the TV series.
I would love that. Send me all your ideas, man. I would love to hear them.
Hey, anything else you would like to say? Where are you gonna be next?
Wow. Well, I'm doing a lot of concerts coming up now that we're now opening up, and things are starting to open up around the world. So I'm doing a lot of concerts. You guys can follow me on all the social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I have a lot of concerts coming up. Next up, I'm going to New York. I'm taking my kids for the weekend to do 4th of July there. And then we go full force with La Muñeca de la Salsa, Manila Moldavar. We'll be traveling to Chicago, a whole bunch of different places. So very excited.
Yeah, please come this way, so I can go see you. I haven't seen you in years.
I will, brother.
All right. Well, that's Tito Puente Jr. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on CPR's Clubhouse Live. We'll talk to you soon. And again, what a great success and what a great album. You have to catch it right now. It's The King and I, Tito Puente Jr., with a host of salseros on there. It's a list of the top tier. Jose Alberto Canario, Tony Vega, Michael Stewart, Frankie Negron, Domingo Quiñones, Sheila E in the timbales, Humberto Ramirez, trompeta, Ronnie Puente en el vibráfono or briváfono, y Pete Escobedo en la precisión or percusión. And it's just great. I haven't spoken Spanish or enunciated any Spanish words in a long time, but listening to this, it gets you excited. If you have iTunes, make sure you download it. Make sure you program it like I did the first day. As you can hear from Tito Puente Jr. himself, there's going to be vinyl and there's going to be CDs available soon. So it's going to be great. Don't forget to check out CPR's Clubhouse Live this week. Local programming, 90.7 FM WTCC in Western Massachusetts and Northern Connecticut. Thursday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and Fridays, 8 p.m. to 12 midnight. You could catch us on the TuneIn Radio app. Also, on Friday nights, you could check out CPR's Clubhouse Crew, featuring myself and Cliff Potts, the Vinyl Assassin, on Rhythm 105.9 FM. That's 10 p.m. EST and 7 p.m. PST. That worked out. And also, on Sundays, you can catch the entire CPR's Clubhouse Crew on Party 101.9 on New York Radio. Also on iHeartRadio, just look for Party 101.9. And you'll be able to listen to CPR's Clubhouse Crew from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the one and only Cheryl Rodriguez, DJ Cliff Potts, and yours truly, CPR Jose Ortiz. Until next time, it's CPR saying goodbye. And remember, this way, that way, this way. It's not who you love, it's how. We'll talk to you soon.